volleyball shape. And so having them come back, I think, was the best thing we can do to prepare for this. And so we're preparing as if we're starting our season on time, and we're going to start that last weekend in August or the first weekend in September. And so we're just presenting it like that. We're having weekly meetings via Zoom, which we're allowed to do. We're in constant communication with everybody. But I think the biggest thing is they're here. They're working out together. They're with our strength coach. And so because of that, I feel like we're actually going to have a leg up on a lot of other schools that are not as far along as we are as far as summer stuff goes. So we're excited to see where they are. There's been some gains made already just from them being here. So we're preparing just as if it's a regular season, and we'll adjust with wherever the chips may fall.
Val, let's turn it over to you to see if there are any questions coming in from our audience.
Thanks, Kyle and Coach. It's fun to hear about the student athletes being back on campus. We have one question that came in about the Summit League. Who do you think, in your eyes, is the team to beat in the Summit League this fall?
Well, Denver won our conference last year. Denver's always going to be good. They have a consistently proven coach. I think they've been to the NCAA tournament the past 4 or 5 years. Denver's going to be at the top, and I would also look at South Dakota. South Dakota lost 2 matches last year and returned both of their outside hitters and their starting setter. They're going to be really loaded. And so the level of play for the conference, I think, across the board is going to be higher this year than it was last year. I know how much better we are, but South Dakota and Denver and even Omaha as well will be 3 really solid teams that will be there. And I think we've got a really good shot to be competing for that Final Four spot right there for our conference tournament.
Oh, that's awesome. You had one senior on your team last year, Ashley Bruggeman. Do you have an update on her? What is she doing now, and will we see her this fall?
Absolutely. So Ashley is set to graduate in May of 2021. So she's got 1 more year of academics to go. So what she's going to do is she's going to stick around and be a part of our program as a student assistant coach. What that means for her is she's allowed to be in the gym. She's allowed to hit volleyballs, participate in scrimmages, do all the things that a normal coach would do. And then as the season progresses, our director of operations, Ashley Steffen, will be heading out onto maternity leave, and Ashley's going to slide into that role and kind of get some experience with the off the court as well, so that when she graduates in the spring, she'll have a lot of experience and can use that to move into whatever career she's going to be heading into. So we're excited to have her. She was, an all-conference player for us, and she's going to bring some great wisdom and knowledge to our team. So we're just really excited to have her as a part of our program again.
Awesome. Last but not least, I think you had 2 redshirt freshmen on the team last year. We had a question in from a Champions Club member. Are those 2 members of the team still on the team, those redshirts, and how will they be able to help us this season?
Yes, absolutely. Macalester, Gayle, and Sophia Hedquist are still they're still part of the program. Yes, they both redshirted last year. In our limited spring, both of them were doing really well. Macalester is going to be a very physical right side for us. If you remember watching us play the past couple years, Ashley was a good physical player at the net. Macalester's jumping higher already. Macalester probably touches higher than anybody else on our team right now. And with that added year of just that weight room and getting stronger, she's going to be a huge presence for us on the right side. Sophia is doing extremely well on the left. We only have 4 outside hitters this year. Sophia is one of them. And so she's hitting a really heavy ball, taking that experience that she had last year of being on that B side, on making the starters ready for games. She's going to be able to, she knows what it takes to make them successful. And so she will know what it takes to be on that A side and make our team successful on the other side of the net. So both of them were doing really well in the spring, and they're already back and doing their thing. So I'm excited to see what they bring as well this year.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Coach. We're excited to have you on the call today, and we're really excited to watch some volleyball in the Betty this fall. I'm going to turn it back over to Kyle, and he can introduce our next coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Val. Thanks, Coach. Next up, he's in his 10th season on staff at North Dakota. As a student athlete, led UND to a 16-6 record as our starting quarterback, and still is the school's most accurate passer, career passing percentage at 69%. 72% in one season. As a senior, we welcome offensive coordinator Danny Freund. Coach Freund, we're in this pandemic. What's the communication been like for the football program with all of those guys and all of the staff really spread out all around?
Yeah, thanks for having us on. Appreciate you doing this, and thanks to all the Champions Club members. it's been a whole lot of Zoom, a whole lot of this, like what we're doing right now. But it's been productive. You just got to kind of adapt and be flexible. And it's a lot of Zoom communication with recruits, with your own position group, with your own team, staff meetings, kind of across the board. But I think everybody's been adjusting as well as they could, and it's going pretty well.
We appreciate Coach Freund being here. Coach Schweigert had something come up, couldn't be here. So we're calling an audible and getting the OC here under center, taking some snaps with us tonight. Looks like he's got a little, he's in his home gym back there. I just am the guest bedroom back here, but we got a little home gym action back there.
Yeah, we're down in the basement away from the kids. You know, we got 3. Jeremiah just went to 2. Congrats on the newest one. It's a great name. Daniel's a great name. So that's good stuff. But yeah, this is the only way I can dunk. 10 feet. I don't know if I can get up there, but Coach Sather needs a guard this winter. Maybe I can jump in or something.
So, hey, as of right now, we're sitting July 15th, right? Fall camp just right around the corner. So as of right here, right now, the evening of July 15th, what's fall camp looking like for you?
We're planning on everything going as scheduled. August 5th is the first day our training camp will start in August, just like kind of every other year. September 3rd is our first game against Valparaiso. And, you know, we're very understanding that things could change and we have to be ready to adapt and be flexible. But it's been good. We actually got a chance to watch our guys work out for the first time this morning. And that's the biggest thing about this whole pandemic is the reason you coach is to be around young people and develop them and have those relationships. And it's been hard. You can't be in there in person. So it was really cool to see them work out with Coach Bachl, and he's doing a heck of a job. And most of the guys were back on campus June 15th, and a lot of the freshmen came in July 5th, right after the 4th of July, and parents kind of dropped them off and said, here you go. So there's always some anxiety there, but then you throw in the pandemic, and it's a whole nother deal. But they're handling it well. I think the young group is really a good class, and that's after one day of looking at them. But it's been fun. We're excited. The guys are ready to go, and we're really hoping we can get started on time.
On the facilities front, there's been some movement with the football program, moving the locker room, and in the process of moving some of the operations from Memorial Stadium over across the parking lot to Starcher Hall, just south of the Hislop Sports Center. What can you tell us about the move to Starcher for the football program?
It's in progress, and it's I think by the end of the month we'll be over there completely. And I tell you what, thanks to the administration for having the vision to do that. It's really nice. Obviously the space is nice, being on campus, having 2 levels, just the upgrades that have been done over there. We're going to have more meeting space. Guys are going to be closer to campus, closer to where they lift, at the Hislop, where their locker room's going to be over there. So even the walk to the HPC and Memorial to practice is maybe a little safer because you don't have to cross the street. You kind of go into the bridge. So, I mean, we're looking at it as a huge positive. It's a definite upgrade, and the move's going well. It's gone smooth, and I think the month of July here is kind of without golf events, without summer camps. We've had some time to just kind of slowly get acclimated and kind of move over there.
All right, let's kick it over to Val to see what questions have come in from the audience.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kyle, and thanks, Danny, for jumping in here and helping us out tonight. 3 really good questions coming in. The first one, can you tell us a little bit about the offensive and the defensive lines, what you're looking at this year, and what kind of guys you'll have on the line for us there on the offensive side and the defensive side?
Yeah, that's where it all starts in football. You win up front, and it's going to be kind of a flip from last year. I think we had some more experience on the defensive line last year. I think up front on the D line, we'll be talented, but we'll be young. We'll be playing some guys that just came in last year, and like guys like Luke Lennon and Elijah Beach, and just kind of guys that don't have as much experience. Graham DeVore is a guy that comes to mind. He's coming back. That kind of was in the opposing team's backfields last year, but I think we'll be a little younger on the D-line. And then on the flip side, on the offensive line, we are really, really excited about the returners we have. We have 3 or 4 starters coming back. Matt Willetsko, Kyle Hergel, Donnie Ventrelli, Nate Nguyen. Those guys are staples. And then we're going to kind of fill it in with, some young guys. We're really excited about the young class, but Coach Pavlik on the offensive line, Coach Flieger on the D-line, those guys do a heck of a job. And we know as an offense, just as an offensive coordinator, we've got to run the football better, more efficiently. And that's kind of, we got to play more physical up there. And it starts with the O-line. I know we'll be improved this year.
Awesome. Do you project any freshmen having the red shirts taken off? I know that's a tough question to answer, but it's kind of early. Or is there anyone that jumps out right away that could be an immediate need for you?
Yeah, that's a good question, because like 2 years ago, it was like way bigger of a deal when you got your red shirt pulled, because it was like you play one play and you're done, you're pulled. But now with this 4-game rule, you can kind of mix and match guys, and guys like Luke Skokna last year, he had to play in more than 4, so he got his pulled. But I don't recall if there was maybe one other. But yeah, the class is really talented. Just watching the workout this morning, there's some wide receivers that move around now. I think those guys are going to be competing, and we play the best guys. So if the freshmen come in, they're the best spot, and they move up the depth chart, they'll be playing. Anybody that is best for the team in 2020 is going to play. Some of those old linemen may even have to step in. Who knows with the quarterback situation? So we're a young football team. I think we'll have talent, but it's our job to develop that and grow those guys. And we just want to play and get on the field. It's been far too long. We haven't really been with them, but we're looking forward to August here.
Another one, you've got a lot of questions coming in, Danny. How is the health of the team? Any important players maybe not ready to go on that August 5th start date?
We're knock on wood, we're pretty healthy. Matt Waletzko was the big one from last year, our left tackle. He had a knee deal. Those take longer. He had surgery, but watching him move around today, his recovery is going really well. Yeah, for the most part, I think we're in really good shape that way. Now, throw the pandemic into it. Who knows what's going to happen? But we're gonna have our depth charts ready, and all of our guys, if they're called upon, young or veteran, they're going to be ready to go.
Good. Can you highlight a couple of your recruiting and signings? I know you've got a lot of them and you got a lot of guys, and we only have an hour for this entire Zoom here, but the question came in from a great Champions Club member to highlight some of your recruitings and signings.
Yeah, we can't comment. We got some commitments in 2021 already. We can't comment on those guys, but the 2020 class, those guys moved in a couple weeks ago. We're excited about the quarterbacks. That's kind of the one big position. Quincy Vaughn, Reed Neal, we're excited about those guys' development. But I think the wide receiver position, guys like Elijah Klein, a kid from Mandan, Marcus Preston is one from Kansas, Jack Wright, Bo Belquist. You could kind of go on and on. I'm just trying to think of guys that might pop out. Some of the young defensive backs, we always feel pretty good about those guys getting on the field early. But yeah, just kind of going off. We feel like the class as a whole is really deep. So who knows who's going to pop? It's kind of a matter of who gets in there, stays healthy, and gets in the playbook and can go make plays in practice.
Sure. Last but not least, the rumor on the street is, Danny, you were golfing today. What'd you shoot on the course?
Hey, I don't know. I was out there. I was community. You got to get out and try to fill the Alaris Center. Some good shots, some not so good shots. I was out with Coach King, our wide receivers coach, and I'm sure there's some guys out there right now maybe watching this, maybe tuning in, some Champions Club members. We like those. So
that's awesome. Well, that's
I made a few pars, but there was also some triples mixed in. I think Coach Sather, Coach Barry can attest to that. We played in Park River a couple of weeks ago. So it's always fun, though. The weather's been really good.
Yeah. Well, Danny, thank you so much. It was a joy having you, and I can hardly believe you've been on staff for 10 years. Seems like yesterday you were playing. So we look forward to watching some football this fall, and I'm going to turn it back to Kyle to introduce our next head coach.
Thanks, Val. She was named our interim head coach on March 11th, which is the same day that the NBA postponed its season. Spent 7 years on staff as an assistant, which included the 2014 trip to the NCAA tournament. Prior to coming back to North Dakota, spent 2 years at her high school alma mater at Davenport Assumption in Iowa, where she was the head coach for 2 years, leading her team to 2 state championships. And of course, as a student athlete, graduated from North Dakota as the school's 15th leading scorer in program history. We welcome interim head women's basketball coach Mallory Bernhard into the program. Mallory, also a son under 1. How are you and Nick doing?
We are busy. Not that everyone won't say the same. I mean, Danny's got 2 and Danny's got 3, Jeremiah's got 2, so they both got me beat. But mine is just on the move, and I'm fortunate, I guess, that I only got to chase 1 around right now, because I can't even imagine the amount of energy those 2 are putting out on that. But it's a ton of fun. We're both doing really well, and enjoying getting to see what he's doing every day, learning something new every week, it seems like.
So you get to put your stamp on the program as the head coach for this upcoming season. What kind of differences can fans expect to see on the court?
I think they'll see a lot of differences, in all honesty. Just to start, like the offensive side, we will play fast, but it's going to be a controlled fast. And those that remember maybe seeing me play know that I like to shoot, and I love shooters as well. So we're going to let them fly. If they got shots, we're going to go after it. But once we get into that half court, it's going to be very motion offensive driven and taking advantage of some of our players' strengths. You look at our roster and some of our returning players, a Elena Jarnett, Megan Zander, two examples that they're long, very athletic guards that can really take advantage of some mismatches. They both, Megan really towards the end of the year, Jacqueline really at the beginning of last year, we're explosive players. And can play a little bit of inside out. You look at a Melissa Leet, she doesn't have the club on this year anymore on that right hand, and her shooting percentage will hopefully be a little bit better when she gets out on the perimeter. Now we're going to get her inside too. She is all of 6'5". So utilizing our strengths is going to be huge, very, very motion oriented and just attacking those defensive weaknesses. Defensively, I am a very defensive minded person. So there will be a lot of emphasis on that early in the year. Hopefully July 20th, here coming Monday when we're able to get down on the court with them. And I love pressing. You talked about my 2 years as a high school coach, and I lived with the presses. So we will definitely be doing some full court stuff, amping it up. But getting to that half court, very much a team driven defense rather than an individual driven defense. So you'll see some changes, quite a few changes on both sides of the ball, and hopefully for the good. Obviously, we wouldn't be doing them if we didn't think they were going to help us, but I think we'll have a fun team to watch.
The program graduates only one player, so only one scholarship for this coming year, and you also add one assistant coach. What about the new faces coming into the program?
Yeah, so we did bring in a new coach, named Nawan Young. From Detroit, and he is a phenomenal person that I hope everyone here listening gets the chance to meet, and welcome to Grand Forks when he gets here. We've talked about how great all you guys are, so hopefully we can get some introductions between the two of you. But yeah, he's great. He comes from a great background of coaching. He's worked at the highest level of AAU. So the highest circuit of women's basketball recruiting, he's coached there. So he knows what top level players look like, and he's going to help us bring those kind of players to North Dakota. And so that is absolutely a huge part. And then he's also done really well as a head coach himself. This last couple of years, he's coached two teams concurrently, a boys high school coach and a women's junior college, and extremely successful. He took his boys high school team to the state semifinals until unfortunately the state tournament was shut down this last year for him, and had his women's team going to the national tournament. So phenomenal person to help us in the recruiting side of things, but brings that head coaching experience that's, vital for me to learn from, and done a really good job. So we're extremely excited to have him. As for our new player, Michaela Wallace, you mentioned we lost just one player in Elena, and so we really wanted to fill the role in the void that she left. And Michaela is a player that's played in the Missouri Valley, started 20 games as a freshman. She'll come in as a junior eligibility-wise for us. And she's the point guard that's going to hopefully set the tempo for us, get us going, moving fast. She can really break down a defender off the bounce and create for her teammates. And we're excited for the energy she's going to bring at the point guard spot.
All right, let's throw it over to Val to see what questions are coming in from the audience.
Thank you, Kyle. Thanks, Coach Mallory. A couple questions here. You mentioned your one senior from last year, Elena Jarnett. Can you give us an update on what she's doing now, and if she's planning maybe to play anywhere, or if she's furthering her education, or if she's entering the career world?
I'll give you a combination of both. She is looking right now to potentially play post-college. So we're really excited that, obviously she had a good experience here, and hopefully one that helps her get to that level. And hopefully she can find a home given the whole COVID situation. Like I think everyone's referenced at some point here, that does make things a little bit more difficult. So she is also kind of job hunting, doesn't have anything lined up. So anybody out there looking for a great young lady, Elena Jarnett, there we go. There's your plug.
Yeah, she's a tremendous babysitter. I've used her services a lot, so I can continue to hire her for that. But let's see, July 20th is when you'll get to hit the court with the players. What does that look like? What sort of contact can you have with them during the summer? Are you going to do individual workouts, team workouts? A little breakdown of what the summer is going to look like for you as a first-time head coach.
Yes, I am so excited about it. I've been waiting since Kyle said March 11th for the opportunity to get down on the court with these girls. So it's like Christmas come early. But yes, it's a lot of individual skill development this time. We get 4 hours a week. So it is not a lot. 4 hours goes very quickly. And we're probably going about 50-50. About 2 hours a week are going to be that skill development stuff. And then about 2 hours are going to be this implementation of our offense and defense. I think typically we would go much more on the skill development side of things, but given that there's going to be so many more changes to both sides of the ball, we do want to be able to do a little bit of that as well. So it'll be busy. I cannot wait until July 20th. I've been counting down the days for way too long. So excited to get down there.
Awesome. Let's see what else is coming in here. We talked a little bit about your offense and defense and how you're changing it. Do you have a vision as a head coach, Mallory? Like your vision, we talked a little bit about your coaching style. What is the one thing maybe you want these players to take away from you as a head coach? What's your style? I know you're trying to teach them to be more than basketball players, but do you have a vision that you want to share with the Champions Club members today?
I don't know if it's related to offense or defense, but maybe you could relate it. I am just so huge on developing the confidence of the young women we have, and that does translate both on and off the court. On the court, obviously, it's confidence that you're better than the person across for you, or every shot you're going to take is going to go in. Even, when they don't, everything's going to go in. You got to have that kind of mindset. But off the court, just to be confident young women. So I am just so huge on that. And a lot of that has to do with obviously developing the people, and you only become confident by working at it and continually pushing yourself. But I don't know if that relates or answers the question well at all, but that's really, like, if you had to name a number one goal for how players walk away from this program, that would be it.
That's perfect. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Mallory, for joining us. We're happy to have you, and we're excited to watch you just ride the reins this winter at the Betty. So thank you. I'll turn it back over to Kyle to introduce our next coach.
Thanks, Val. Entering his second season as our head coach. Prior to coming to Grand Forks, he spent 9 seasons as the head coach at his alma mater, Northern State in Aberdeen, where he played for the 2018 Division II national title. And before that, spent 5 seasons as the head coach at Black Hills State, where his team won 30 games in his 4th year guiding that program. We welcome Paul Sather, our head men's basketball coach. And Coach, let's start with one thing I don't think you get a whole lot of credit for. We really haven't spent much time talking about, but take me back about 10 years or so ago. You go back to Northern State to take over that program where you played, where you were also an assistant for a guy named Don Meyer. And if those of you don't know, you can Google the name. He's the winningest coach in NCAA basketball history. That's Division I, Division II, Division III, men's, women's, doesn't matter. He won more than any NCAA basketball coach ever. And now you've got to step into those shoes. And there were some health issues late in that couple of years. I'm going to guess maybe some of the assistants had to take over a little bit more of the on-court, and there just wasn't maybe as much time spent out on the road recruiting. And that's obviously a very proud program. And you kind of had to get that program back on track a little bit, obviously did so all the way to the Division II National Championship game. But before we get into the UND stuff, I don't think you get enough credit for that. Take us back to that time.
Well, first off, thanks for having us. This is an awesome thing you guys have going on. But listen, it was a long time ago. It's amazing how time just flies by. And I think what helped me most, and I just say me on this one, I'd worked with him for 5 years as an assistant. I was Coach Meyer's assistant for 5. I was hired back by Bob Olson, who took the AD job. I worked with him for 1 year, and then they hired Don Meyer to be the head coach. And getting a chance to work with him for 5 years, he gives you a lot of responsibilities, and every day is like a clinic. And so that was 5 years. And then I got some time away. I got a chance to be a head coach. I got a chance to kind of cut my teeth out at Black Hills State and get that experience. And then you come back to Northern where there was a lot of changes since I'd been there. But he was also still there, and he just was such a great mentor to still have there. He lived 2 more years while I was coaching there my first 2 years, and just was a tremendous person to have there across campus. He never came over, really. He'd come to games. And he'd always have a little thing of notes for me to go through. But, like, he never really he just was such a positive guy and a helpful person. And I just think after getting a chance to work with him and you know what he's about, it just kind of helped take some of the pressure away. We always put pressure on ourselves as coaches, so you have that regardless. I just didn't feel like, oh, boy, I'm trying to replace Don Meyer, because let's face it, and there's no way you're gonna. And so he was always so great at saying, you got to be you and don't try to be anybody else. It's good enough. And it meant a lot. And, it worked out, and you get momentum and you get some things to fall your way. And that always helps too. But man, so much of what we did there had his fingerprints all over it. And that's never going to stop. And anywhere I'm at, being here now, there's going to be Don Meyer fingerprints all over what we're doing.
One of my favorite moments of this last season for all sports was your win at Nebraska and Lincoln and Pinnacle Bank Arena. Obviously, a lot of big plays in that game down the stretch. What do you remember from that night, and what jumps out at you as you recall that special night in Lincoln?
It was such a long November and December with our travel, and I just remember how our guys. We missed a lot of class. We've been in a lot of airports, and all of a sudden we're going in to play another Big Ten opponent. We're playing a Big Ten opponent, and we got Christmas break coming up. So you just didn't really know what you're going to get, because we had a couple tough games. Our record wasn't maybe reflective on how we had played at that point in some ways, because I did think we had really good moments in games. I just didn't think we put 40 minutes together. But to do it, on the road at Pinnacle Bank against a full house, listen, you went to Nebraska. My wife and all her family are from Nebraska. They were all there. So it was so much fun. And we sure appreciated them having us there. And that's a great game for us to have as a university. And Coach Hoiberg was a total gentleman from start to finish and how that played out. But great win for our program, no question. And it's something that we'll always remember. And it was just fun to see our guys compete for 40 minutes and finish a game. That's what's fun. It's fun when you can, those last few minutes when it's not going your way or you're trying to hold on to a lead, it's fun to see guys finish a game. And we were able to finish that night.
A lot of big plays. The one that maybe jumps out at me more than others, other than your backspin in the locker room postgame, that was pretty
Ouch. I'm still paying for that.
was Deshaun's three. It seemed like it was from 26 or 27 feet out and drilled a really key shot in that game. Last question for me before we go back to Val. You graduate 3 players, obviously Marlon, Keenan, and Billy. Whose role is potentially going to change heading into this season?
Oh, I'd say Deshaun and Phillip. From a role standpoint, I just think leadership-wise, that role's got to change. We had 3 seniors last year with Marlon, Billy, and Keenan that really – had that experience that we leaned on. They've been through a lot of games, and you can't replace that kind of experience. But Phillip and Deshaun bring that kind of experience, and they played a lot of minutes for us. They made some big-time plays throughout the year. So Phillip and Deshaun are 2 guys that need to step to that role of, hey, every single day this is expected, and holding each other accountable, not allowing themselves to get too down or not too up. Just keep working to be consistent and being the best you can be, and then really giving great support to the new guys, because we're going to need some new guys to step in and help us right away. So those 2 guys, we got some other guys that got experience as well, but those 2 guys are the ones that obviously stand out. They were all conference. Phillip was honorable mention, and Deshaun was one of those guys that's probably right on the border of being one of the top players in the league already.
Well, what have you got from the audience?
Okay, there we go. I clicked on mute and I feel like I've been on enough of these. I don't know how it didn't go. We have a lot of good questions coming in. The first one, the fans really enjoyed your run last season at the Summit League tournament. We did have to play 3 games in 3 days and on kind of a short bench. How hard was that to get the guys up for 3 games in 3 days after a really, really hard fought opening round?
Yeah, a great win against USD in that first round, a team that had just recently beaten us and then beaten us twice throughout the course of the year. So, listen, everybody's in that same position there in a tournament like that. Obviously we had the 3 games in 3 days. I think North Dakota State had 1 day off there somewhere. But you don't want to take anything away from that game and that moment, that opportunity. And I think it's more than anything, it's a lesson because we need to be ready to play 3 games in 3 days. And sometimes you just got to give credit to your opponent. I told our guys in that championship game, kind of throughout the game, that North Dakota State showed us a great deal of respect and how they showed up to play that game. They played awesome, and we just didn't play to the caliber maybe that we had. And they get some, NDSU gets some credit on that. But what a great lesson for us, and what a great ability to help our program moving forward as far as how hard it is. Man, it's hard. And so to put ourselves in that position to win a Summit League championship, I'm so proud of how these guys finished the season, because finishing it's everything. And that championship game just wasn't our night. And credit to our opponent, but let's learn from it. Let's get better. And dang it, when we get there again, let's have a little bit better showing.
Sure. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. If anyone, most people probably watched on TV. There was a good amount of North Dakota fans there, but I would strongly encourage everyone to keep an eye on that tournament on your calendar. It's a lot of fun and a lot of energy, and the guys put on a great show. Another question, and I don't know if you can answer this one, but I'll toss it at you anyways. Any hints about who we will be playing in our upcoming non-conference schedule? Any teasers that you can give out to this
Kyle,
group?
Kyle, I might get in trouble if we do this, won't I? I mean, I can't be giving out too many hints on this. Hey, listen, we're playing right now we're playing an SEC opponent, a Big Ten opponent. We've got a Pac-12 opponent. We got a Missouri Valley opponent. We got some great home games. That's the thing that I'm excited about is our home non-conference games. Last year, we just didn't have a Division I home. That was a tough deal. A lot of road games last year. And this year, we're going to have 6 home games that are non-conference. And so that's really exciting to have our guys not have to travel quite as much and have some great opponents like Big Sky, former conference, from past conferences, opponents here for non-league games. So we got some awesome games at the Betty starting this season. We just want to get there, right? This has been such an interesting few months, and we just can't wait to get on the court again with our guys and get working towards that goal again.
I know Mallory mentioned that they get to start on Monday. Is that the same day you get to start on-court instruction with your team?
Yeah, the 20th is the first day I think that the NCAA has set for us that we can be working with our team. Yep.
Awesome. Last but not least, breaking news today was St. Thomas will be joining the Summit League coming up. What are your thoughts on that? What does that do besides taking the Summit League to 10 teams?
A great university to add to our league. I think it just continues to strengthen our league, the Summit League. I think when you have that presence in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, from a media standpoint, I think that helps. They've done a tremendous job in the conference and the level that they were. And I think they probably feel they've got strong resources to make this jump and to be a great opponent in our conference. So it's anything that helps your conference get better, and people that can really, I think, establish that can really challenge people, I think, is always a good addition. And I got a feeling that St. Thomas is going to be a very good addition to our conference.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Coach, for joining us. You had really good answers to all of our tough, hard-hitting questions, and we can't wait to watch some men's hoops this winter at the Betty. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Go Hawks.
I'll turn it back to you, and you can introduce our last head coach.
Thanks, Val. Going into his 6th season as our head coach, led us to the 2016 National Championship. Prior to that, had 2 stints at North Dakota as an assistant coach, was also an assistant with the Columbus Blue Jackets and others, was the 29th overall draft pick coming out of college to the Winnipeg Jets in 1983. Here's our head hockey coach, Brad Berry. Coach, thanks for your time. Big news, obviously, for your program this afternoon with Nashville. What's your reaction to the news today, considering the Nashville event?
Well, first of all, I'd like to start off by thanking all the Champions Club members for getting online today. Obviously, this is our way of life with Zoom meetings with our student athletes and our recruits here. So thank you for being here today. And yeah, you know what? It's some news that we thought would be coming down the pike here a little bit, and knowing what's in front of us here with trying to get through a little bit of adversity, there's some clarity to it. We're going to play on October 30th in 2021 in Nashville and postpone it for a year. And Jody Hodgson and his crew and Bill Chaves and the athletic department have done an outstanding job on making this event to what it is. Obviously, we've been to New York, we've been to Las Vegas, and now a year from now we'll be in Nashville. So again, thank you to our fans for their patience, their understanding. I think it's remarkable. 45 out of 50 states have ticket holders that are going to that event. 6 provinces in Canada. So again, it tells you the impact and magnitude of that event.
Coach, a lot has been made about a lot of your roster coming back for next year, but what can you tell us about the freshmen coming in?
Well, if you think we had a really good team last year, we even have a better team this year. And that's not a knock on the outgoing players, but I'll tell you what, like the young men that committed to come back here, and we call it unfinished business. We were number 1 in the nation in the pairwise before our season got abruptly ended, and are well on our way to our 9th national championship. Guys like Shane Pinto, Jordan Kawaguchi, Matt Kerstead, Jacob Bernhard Doctor, those high-end players made a commitment to come back with opportunities to probably sign a pro contract. We have outstanding freshmen. Like our D-court coming in here is outstanding. We got 4 young defensemen, and Jake Sanderson is supposed to be a top 5 overall pick this year. Tyler Clevin, a first-round draft pick. We have Mitchell Miller, a mid-round draft pick, all true freshmen coming in, and then we have a guy named Cooper Moore who's 1 year out of high school here. So we got young guys coming in, but that are outstanding. Our forward group is really good too. They're a little bit older. We have Brendan Booty and Reese Gaber as 20-year-olds from Canada. They're having a little trouble getting over the border here for some training, but we'll eventually get them down here. And then Griffin Ness from Wayzata, Minnesota, who played in Waterloo, Iowa last year, is a 20-year-old as well. So we've got a really outstanding freshman group, as well as the returning players that we mentioned, to have ourselves a chance to hang 9.
Your program just named some captains within the last few days. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, it's funny, as things move along here, and our program is rich with tradition, history, and success. We really haven't deviated from the days when I played for Gino Gasparini on how we pick captains, and we did it the same way again for my 5th year here as a head coach, and we let our players decide who that is. And Gino Gasparini always said that, the players have 49% of the vote, the coaches have 51%. But in saying that, I would say the majority of the time, the players are dead on when they vote for their captains. So Jordan Kawaguchi, Hobie hat-trick candidate for the Hobie Baker Award. He was named our captain here, and rightfully so. He exudes all the leadership skills you want in a captain, on and off the ice. Matt Kerstead, Jacob Bernhard Doctor, Jasper Weatherby, and Mark Senden all were voted as assistant captains. So we feel really comfortable with that group, and some guys that don't wear letters will be part of our core leadership group in meetings that we do have here. So we feel really confident and grateful and blessed to have that leadership group leading us.
Val, what's in the Q&A?
Thanks, Kyle. We have a really good question that came in the Q&A. With the abrupt end to the season last year, how are you building the team and the culture to raise 9 this year?
Well, that's a great question. I think last year we had momentum going into March, and we only lost a handful of games and won the majority of all of our contests, and guys were feeling good about themselves. And then it was almost like a knife got stuck in our heart as far as how the season ended here. And our guys have made a commitment to come back. They've trained extremely hard on their own through this COVID. They went home and for whatever they could use to train, they remained focused and disciplined. We have everybody back except for those 2 Canadians that I mentioned here training. They came back July 6th. That's something that we always do. And, it's kind of unclear about when our season starts going to be or what that looks like. We fully are going to be playing this year. It's just a matter of when. But our guys have made that commitment to come back. And I think the biggest thing that you can do is communicate with your players. Show them you care. And again, if there's anything that we do here at North Dakota, we support each other and we care about our players here. And I think that's the reason why we have a lot of success. And that's why guys we've had a lot of guys that retained their eligibility by not going pro, is they know when they leave here, there's not a lot of things that are better than playing at North Dakota.
We heard from Coach Sather and Coach Bernhard. They get to start working with their team on the court on July 20th. Do you get summer access to the guys on the ice? And if so, what does that look like?
I wish we did. I guess in the NCAA eyes, we're a little bit later than that. But in saying that, we can have Mark Pullman, our strength and conditioning coach. He can work with our guys through this time period of July 6th. We'll reconvene, on August 24th when school starts here, that official start of school. Then we'll be under an 8-hour window per week, as Mallory talked about. And within that 8-hour window, we can start integrating with our players through skill work and work with coaches here. So again, like I said, Mark Pullman's doing the bulk of the work right now through NCAA rules, and then we'll take over on August 24th in a limited degree.
Last but not least, what has your recruiting looked like this summer? We're in such a strange time in a strange world. Are you able to get out and go recruiting, or what does that look like within your program?
I wish, and I've been doing this a long time, and you don't know how much you miss it until you really have it taken away from you. And everybody's in the same boat. We have a dead period going on till August 31st. That means that we can't actively go out recruiting. There's not a lot going on anyways. But, the other part is you cannot have players or student athletes come to campus for official and unofficial visits. And that's a big deal because, what we feel is we feel that we have one of the best facilities in the world in the Ralph Engelstad Arena. But what we really do have is the people inside that rink, the players, the staff. We really can't show those recruits, kind of what we're all about until they do come on campus. So I think that's the biggest thing is getting this hopefully lifted a little bit later on when we can. And again, being sensitive to where we're at right now, but getting some student athletes on campus to see who we are.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Coach. We feel that we got shorted a hockey season too. So we are excited to be back at the Ralph, hopefully late fall, early winter. And thanks again for joining us. I'll turn it back over to Kyle to introduce our last guest.
No doubt, Val. Yeah, tough way to end last season, being #1 in the country, no doubt. So we'll bring in two-time National FCS Athletic Director of the Year, Bill Chaves, fresh off a Missouri Valley Football Conference call. I think, Bill, you were on 2 different conference calls today. But before we get to the question, we have an opportunity here, and for those Champions Club members who are with us tonight, if you have a Twitter account, you can vote on our Spirit video that was released today. It's us, NDSU, and Omaha are all together in Group B, and you can vote for us if you're on Twitter by going to find that thread. Each school had posted a video, and to have your vote count, you have to click North Dakota in the Twitter poll, which is at the bottom of that thread. So we encourage you to do that. Early on, NDSU had us doubled up, but we had a strong afternoon, and as of last check, we were in the lead, and that cuts off tomorrow about this time. So we encourage you to help us move on into the finals against South Dakota State, who won Group A, and then Group C will be coming up later. So, Bill, welcome. Let's just start. A lot obviously going on. What's happening in the landscape of college athletics right now?
That's a question there, Kyle. That's for sure. Where do you want to begin? I was listening to Val's question about St. Thomas to Paul Sather, and so I'll start there. I think we've said it a number of times. We're excited about getting to an even number of teams in the Summit League. So this will be our last year where we'll have just the 9 schools, and that's just provided some really difficult scheduling situations and just a lot of just oddities, I would say, more than anything. And so, knock on wood, now that we can have travel partners again, starting in 21, 22, maybe, knock on wood, we could go back to the kind of the Big Sky days, if you will. I mean, that's at least what I'm going to be voting for, and I'll be very vocal for it as well. So stay tuned on that. But lots going on, obviously, as you can see around the country, and even here today, we released the news that we're going to push the Nashville game 365 days later, or a little bit more than that. But right decision for us, given what the situation is in Nashville at this point in time. And if we couldn't get everybody in the arena, it didn't make a whole lot of sense for us to continue on at this stage. So we move that and give Jody Hodgson and his crew just a tremendous amount of kudos and yeoman's work in trying to make this all happen, and appreciate Penn State's willingness to be flexible in this regard. So between that, Kyle, and then everything else that seems to be going on as far as what does it look like for sports, moving forward, I guess my statement's always, we're playing until we're not playing. I mean, that's really what it is. And we're at 100 till we're not. And we're having a lot of conversations right now about what does competition potentially look like. You talk to a lot of our coaches right now that we've got our student athletes, for a good chunk of them anyways, here on campus and going through workouts. We're going through what does competition protocols look like. And we'll say through the front door for fans potentially, and through the back door for competitors. And so those are the things that we're working on right now.
North Dakota, the only institution in the Summit League that sponsors hockey and football. So we're in 3 different conferences. And so you're on a number of those conference calls. And in fact, you're the chair of the NCHC group, I believe, this year. So from that standpoint, a lot of communication going back and forth between our staff and you and the conferences. Give a little bit of insight on what that communication has been like, and then filtering that down to the staff and the student athletes and then our fans here tonight.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are asking questions that truly I don't have answers to at this point. And so I'm just, I'm always learning each and every day about what's next. And as we know, I mean, I usually have a line that there's only 2 undefeateds. It's Father Time and Mother Nature. And but there's a close one that's probably number 3 is a virus in a pandemic. And so we know this, we can't control the virus. The virus is going to control us. So we have to kind of live with it and try to figure out how do you mitigate risk. And those are some of the things that we're working through at this point. I think we're just looking at alternate, situations. That's what we're doing in each league right now. We're forging on as if we're playing certainly in the fall right now. That's what we're doing at this stage. But we also have to be thoughtful about what are maybe plans B and C. And so, some of the news that has come out recently about the potential of vaccines, I mean, those are good news. I mean, if we're going to trial 3 on some vaccinations, that is very, very encouraging. And so I think we just need to be very nimble. We need to be very flexible. That's what I've said to our staff. Get really familiar with those words. And I think if you're comfortable, get ready to be uncomfortable, because that's kind of where we are on a daily basis. But I've appreciated our staff's willingness to take this on, our coaches, our student athletes. And, we're excited about bringing this all to our fans again. And I want to thank everyone in the Champions Club that's with us tonight. We're excited to be able to do this. Hopefully we can do it again too, when we have, more news moving forward.
Last one from me before we go to Val. Bill, the Division I Council was active today. You touched on that a little bit. You sat on that council as the athletics director at Eastern Washington, representing the Big Sky Conference, and a guy named Ken Halpin, the AD at Winthrop, worked for you at Eastern Washington. He's on that now, and a lot of those individuals that are on the Division I Council. What are you hearing from that group, and just in terms of the national landscape? You touched on some of it earlier, but there's a lot of communication, and you obviously keep in touch with a lot of those folks.
Yeah, I do, Kyle. And actually, the Missouri Valley call that I'm on, we've got 4 different individuals that are either on subcommittees or the council themselves. And so we really are getting information real time. I think the biggest piece of the puzzle, that outside of really the St. Thomas, which is really a huge deal. I mean, there was a rule in place that you had to go from Division III to Division II to Division I. And they asked for a waiver to go straight to Division I. So that was a big deal today to get that approved. Obviously, you had to have a conference waiting for you and supporting you, and that's what transpired with the summit. But I think the big thing that we're waiting for right now, Kyle, is Brian Hainline, our chief medical officer for the NCAA, is going to be coming out with phase 3 of I'll call them competition guidelines. And I think that's going to be really something to look for us to kind of figure out what does that look like now from a testing standpoint. And, you know, I could probably go on on and on about I could put on probably a seminar on testing. And, but the reality of it is this, is we at UND have a sincere want to test, no question. It's whether you have the capabilities of doing it based on getting reagents in the machinery that you need. So again, I think we're going to get guidelines in that regard, and then it will be interesting as far as the availability. The other piece that's been interesting, and you'll see it around the nation as well, is the turnaround time with when you take the test and when you get the results. And those are some things that we're still working through. And, you know, I'll be straight, is that, you know, back in March or April, I kind of hoped that maybe we would be further along right now. And we're not maybe as far along as I wish we were as a country, as a world. And so hopefully, you know, we're going to get good news in that regard as well. So those are some of the things that we're literally working on a daily basis. But, you know, it's almost like you're trying to relearn to write, or relearn to talk, or relearn to walk. That's what we've done with indoctrinating our student athletes back into the facilities. We've said, hey, erase everything that you ever remembered about going into your facility, and here's the new protocols. And then we've got to do the same thing with competition.
Now, what are you seeing from our audience?
Yeah, we have some great questions here for Bill. We learned today with that announcement about Nashville that there will be a Hall of Fame game played in Grand Forks on October 17th at UND. What is the status of that game? How do we find an opponent? Do you have any updates on that game, Bill?
Yeah, so the quick answer is we're searching right now. But the reality of it is, because some things have changed around the country with the Ivy League making the decision that they did last week, which was they will not play a game until at least January 1. So there's going to be some dominoes that are occurring right now in regards to some openings on schedules. And so we are, and Brad does a great job with it. He's kicking the tires right now, and he's making a lot of phone calls to try to figure that out. So how about this? Stay tuned.
Good answer. That's a good answer. Let's see. The next question, we talked about this a little bit, but if you could predict right now today, what will it look like for fans in the stands this fall and winter? Will there be social distancing or a mask mandate?
Yeah, good question. So I chair a Grand Forks group of venues and operation group. We meet each Friday. So we're going to follow the state guidelines for large venues. That's really the answer. And so whatever comes of that, that's what we'll end up doing. But within that, we're still going to do some mitigation. We're going to do some risk mitigation pieces as well. As you walk in, have masks available for you. Potentially, obviously, have a lot of hand sanitizers and those types of things. As far as the actual numbers in the seats right now, have not gotten there yet, because it literally could change based on the week or the month. And so I would say sometime mid-August, in that range, I think you can look forward to having some information from this group that I've been chairing on each Friday.
Awesome. Last but not least, we're definitely in a strange time. Did you ever expect to have to deal with a nationwide pandemic when you chose a career in athletics?
Well, I know there was one in 1918, and so every 100 years, if you're the lucky AD sitting in the chair, whomever is sitting here in, I guess, 2118 will be dealing with it as well. So no, I didn't, but I'm learning a lot, that's for sure. I think, like many of us, science wasn't my best subject. You know, I liked other things, but I've learned a lot. And, you know, the one thing I know in this chair is each day's its own. And so I come in, hopefully glass half full, and I always look at it, there's always opportunity. And, you know, the one thing this has done for us is to be able to really look at everything that we do. And it's not just we're doing things because we've always done them before. We've had to really look hard at the things that we're doing. And you know what? Ask the question, is that what we should be doing? And so I know our staff's done a great job about regarding that, and certainly our coaches as well, and kudos to our student athletes. I'll end with this. I was pained by the abrupt end of last year, right? I mean, there's just so many things that were missed, and not just athletically, but between graduations and as we keep going forward with the pandemic, whether it's birthdays, anniversaries, bar mitzvahs, I mean, things that are just, rite of passage type things, weddings, and it's just, it's tough. I'm rooting for a vaccine. That's what I'm rooting for.
One more for you, Bill, and this one's really good. We hear a lot about budgets and the need for student athletes and the open door and the different scholarships we have on campus. What can we do as Champions Club members to continue to help student athletes today?
Well, asking those questions is just enough in a lot of ways. I mean, knowing that you're asking that, because the Champions Club does so much for us anyways on an annual basis. But I mean, our student athletes, all 350 of them are living out their dream right now. Be a college athletics, Division I college athlete, and then also getting an education. And this past year actually recorded the best ever GPA in the Division I era at almost a 3.5. And so just a tremendous job by our student athletes. Again, buy season tickets, be a member of the Champions Club. I'm preaching to the choir right now. You're here already. And so, and just keep asking those questions. Sometimes it's just showing up and showing your support, but certainly everything does have a price tag to it. No doubt about it. Education's not free. And so we support, we appreciate everything that you do, and we sure hope that we're making you proud.
Thank you so much, Bill. I think your comments will help us wrap up our first ever virtual Coaches Corner. Just to go back to Kyle's point about that Summit League Challenge, where we are facing the Bison, so this is important. In the chat feature at the bottom of the Q&A here, or right down by Q&A, it says chat. We did put the link there to Twitter. So you can just click on that link and then go vote for North Dakota, because we hate to lose. We love North Dakota, and we love to beat North Dakota State. Again, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you to all of our coaches who took time out of their nights to join us. Thank you to Kyle for moderating this great event. Thank you to Lithia Auto Stores in Grand Forks for being an awesome partner and an amazing sponsor for us. But last but not least, thanks to you, Champions Club members. We have heard from some of our peers in the industry, and not a lot of people had a good renewal cycle. We did. We renewed Champions Club at a very, very high level, just a bit short of where we were last year at this time. So we have a little work to do. We renewed our season tickets at a really, really high percentage. We wouldn't be here without you loyal students, without you loyal Champions Club members who help make dreams a reality for students. So again, thank you for letting us come into your homes tonight. We hope you enjoyed the first ever virtual Coaches Corner. And if we do it again, we hope you can join us. Any parting words, Bill, Kyle? Did I miss anything?
No, great job. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you so much. Have a great night. you.